All right, so we're continuing on with the evolution of drug-resistant bacteria. Ta-da! I know this has been my hype up until the past 2 weeks as to why, oh my goodness, the cat is now going to jump. If it shakes, that's because the cat has to see what's going on with the cell phone. I'm sorry, folks. All right, I got to fire the help. All right, no one's getting a raise here. So here it talks about the bacteria that we normally have. You can't see it. Okay, so Staphylococcus aureus, I'm just making that up. I have no idea how to pronounce it. Is commonly found on people's skin and their nasal passage, but then we get a resistant one. They're dangerous, and we've been using penicillin since 1945, and the problem is bacteria, guess what? They adapt faster. Why? Because they have that one little circular thing of DNA, so it's easier for them to adapt. You're like, but wait, there's no sexual reproduction. How do they do that? They always have one. Everyone's a little bit different. And those that make it through the antibiotics, as I've said before, those that make it through the antibiotics are the only ones that are able to reproduce. So now that antibiotic resistant strain, and hey, everyone can take out their little cell phones and they can show you guys also made antibiotic resistant bacteria. See how easy that was? Yours was with E. coli, but it's the same concept, all right? So when exposed to this, the strains are more likely to survive and reproduce than non-resistant ones. It's now resistant to many antibiotics, which we have this problem all over the place. That is not the problem we're having now with the virus, because we know that viruses are not alive. So it's a whole other issue going on there. So no one get antibiotics for the virus because it doesn't work. But you already knew that. Look. I have no idea what that is. No, it's here we have, it's talking about, this would be the circular DNA, okay? And these are the amounts, because it's a graph. You may have to read graphs. You don't have to know what it means, but you have to be able to interpret it, okay? And this is the amount of MRSA that's gone up, and they have through 05. Oh, look, of course, then we get the pictures bigger. There's a graph bigger, okay? So, natural selection, it doesn't create new traits. However, those that have traits that are better adapted to the environment reproduce more. That's it, okay? So the local environment determines which traits will be selected for or selected against in any specific population. So if the environment changes, different adaptations are going to be beneficial, and those previously beneficial adaptations may no longer be so. So it's a process of descent with modification, just like Darwin said way back in the day. Okay, related species can have characteristics with underlying similarities that function differently. Homology. This is one of those important concepts. Homology is similarities resulting from common ancestry. Things we have in common. Homologous structures. Look at how, remember, science is not creative. They're using the same thing over and over again. Prefixes, good, homo, same. Are anatomical resemblances that represent variations on a structural theme present in a common ancestor. Let's go. They always give the exact same examples over and over again. I'm just going to assume. Ta-da! Okay. Humerus, radius, ulna, human, cat, whale, bat. I know they're all mammals. Okay. All mammals, all having the same bones. Big, huge coincidence? Probably not. Okay. Okay. And another one, which is slightly creepy, okay, just a forewarning. Comparative embryology reveals anatomical homologies not visible in adult organisms. Okay? So one of the things that we have when we go through and we talk about chordates, the fact of being a chordata in an organism, is that we have as an embryo pharyngeal arches and a postanal tail. So here's a chick embryo, here's a people embryo. The sizes may be different, so they're just for comparative, okay? But little tail, little tail.
Yeah, let me know.
Creepy picture? There it is, closer. Closer. Okay. So vestigial structures, okay, are remnants or features that serve important functions in the organism's ancestors. So for example, we can almost see vestigial structure, for example, wisdom teeth. All right, it used to be everyone would talk about the appendix, but we know now that the appendix is used in your immune system, but for a while we were like, oh, vestigial structure. But now the one that you could look at number one, you could look at post-anal tail because that becomes caudal vertebra and it becomes a tail in, for example, cat, dog, whatever. Okay, monkey, apes don't have tails, just in case you wanted to know the difference. Okay, so post-anal tail, we have that at some point, and we still have, okay, you have your sacrum and your coccyx, which are all fused together at the bottom of your vertebral column. Obviously, not so much needed. A better example, however, is your wisdom teeth. So wisdom teeth, as we know, interrupt any type of braces that we have. If you're getting braces when you're young at the beginning of, say, you get them in like middle school or at the beginning of high school, your wisdom teeth might not grow in until you're like 16 to 18. And that's because back in the day, I'm talking thousands of years ago, you would grind down your teeth because we didn't have dentists. So you would need new teeth to come in for you to be able to continue to eat food. Otherwise, you would starve to death. So those teeth popping up, you know, in your teen years when people only lived into their 20s and early 30s were great because people could still eat. Oh, good. I was hoping the dog would continue to bark through this one. Okay. I paused and I gave him water because his throat was parched because he couldn't bark anymore. So there we go. Okay. So examples of homologies at the molecular level are genes shared among organisms inherited from a common ancestor. Oh my goodness. Homologous genes can be found in organisms as dissimilar as humans and bacteria. We went through and we saw when we looked at breaking up our DNA and looking at the A, T, C's, and G's and comparing it to bacteria, how many things that we have that are similar. Now that we can see this on the molecular level, going all the way down to what A, T, C's, and G's we have, what amino acids we have in common, holy cow. Okay? Many organisms have retained genes that, like vestigial structures, have lost their function. So, convergent evolution, this is different. This is when things look the same because they live in the same type of environment, but they didn't evolve necessarily from the same thing. Certainly not recently. Is the evolution of similar or analogous features distantly related groups. Analogous traits arise when groups independently adapt to similar environments. Okay, convergent evolution does not provide information about ancestry. And they're always going to give you the same examples. Okay, and I was reading, because look at the cuteness. Flying squirrel, sugar glider. Flying squirrel, sugar glider. I mean, beyond the cuteness, the fact is they're both mammals, yes we know, but they evolved so long ago. Flying squirrels we have here, they're placental mammals. So we give live birth, not that they don't give live birth, but they're marsupials, they have the pouch. So they grew to have similar features because they live in the same type of ecological niche. There it is, closer. Closer. Okay. So the fossil record, what does it provide? That species have gone extinct. So every species that's around now hasn't always been around. Fred Flintstone did not ride a brontosaurus to move rocks. It's not true. He didn't. Okay? So the origin of new groups and changes within groups over time. This one I love. When I've argued over time with people who don't believe in evolution, once again, I know I've used the example. Go down to Vizcaya, go up to New England, look at people's houses from like the 16, 17, 1800s. We have some of them. People were shorter as a general sense. They didn't have people like shack size. They didn't grow them that tall. Okay? All the little doors, I mean, they look like little hobbit houses all the time when you go and look at Great Britain and some of these really, really, really old ones that have been there for thousands and thousands of years. They didn't make the doors that short because they were too lazy to add another 6 inches. They didn't need them to be taller because people weren't taller. Even down Vizcaya from, hardly long time ago, when was Vizcaya, like the early 1900s, late 1800s, somewhere around there, the beds were shorter, the furniture was smaller, people were tinier. That's a change over time. Check. Evolution. We're done. Okay. So here we're talking about, I have no idea, is that a metatarsal? Or is that, oh, those are teeth. Okay, sorry. My bad. Here they are up close. And these are molars. You don't care. Okay, but just for you to see the difference. If you didn't, don't worry about it. So, fossils can document important transitions. For example, the transition from land to sea and ancestors of cetaceans. Cetaceans are toothed whales. So, dolphins, killer whales, orcas, type of thing. Okay. So, living cetaceans, what they're talking about, looking at, once again, the bone structure. Look at, who knew? Hippopotamuses, in case you wondered what the plural of hippopotamus was. I know it was keeping you up. I could tell. Okay. So, fossil evidence shows that living cetaceans and their close relevant, even-toed ungulates. Even-toed. 2 toes. Or 4 toes. Not 1 toe. That's a horse. Okay? Okay? Are more different from each other today than were early cetaceans and even-toed ungulates. There we go. Those 2. So, biogeography. What do the words mean? Biogeography. I'm guessing even without reading the definition, you got this. Okay? The scientific study of the geographic distribution of species provides evidence of evolution. The Earth's continents were formerly united. We know this because we understand the concept of plate tectonics. They're moving around because we've heard of things like earthquakes and volcanoes because we have plate tectonics. Okay? So we had this big, huge continent called Pangaea. Okay? But have since separated into these 7 continents we know and love today. An understanding of continent movement and modern distribution of species allows us to predict where and when different groups evolved, which is why the mammals of Australia, they're all endemic to Australia because Australia broke off first. Okay, it was one of the ones, that's why it's so vastly different. They have mammals, but all of their endemic mammals, all the ones that originate in Australia, not that people introduced, are all marsupials, except for 2. Even beyond that, you have the monotremes, the weirdest ones. You have the platypus and the echidna. Those are your egg-laying mammals. They have milk and fur, kind of the definition. So all of those, so you have your egg-laying and then you have your marsupials. So you go from an egg to going into a pouch, which you can see how that's formed and evolved, early on in mammal evolution. So, oh look, there's the word. Endemic species are species that are not found anywhere else. Islands have endemic species. And Darwin explained that species on islands gave rise to new species as they adapted to their environment. Once again, you can look at the finches, you can look at their beaks, you can also look at their feet, but you're not going to look at either one, but just understand the concept. So, in science, a theory accounts for many observations and integrates a variety of phenomena. Okay? So, Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection integrates diverse areas of biological study and stimulates many new research questions. New research questions, especially now that we can go through and get a genetic analysis of every organism. And it doesn't take years like the human genome theory did. Okay? It can be done in, I think it's a matter of days at this point with big, huge computers. Oh, are we now at the, look at all the picture portion of, yeah, pictures. Oh, yuck. Ta-da! Okay, let me see how this goes. I'll keep you posted. I'm going to go beat the dog now.